Good evening and welcome to Stanningley for this evening's feature Under-18s clash. It's Leeds Rhinos Under-18s looking out for revenge against Wakefield. And it's Wakefield that get us underway, kicking down. Leeds taking the first carry, the ball bouncing around, picked up by Will Gators eventually. And the young Rhinos looking, like I said, to overturn that defeat to Bradford Bulls last time out. The first defeat of the season against Wakefield, who only have one win this season themselves. They'll be aiming to have a ride up the table as we reach the halfway point of the Under-18s Academy Championship. Leeds coming forward with Harrison Gilmore. Reaches halfway, dumped on his back. Safely enough by the two Wakefield forwards. It's now Davis. He's been ever present for the Rhinos Academy this year, playing in all 8 games so far, Billy, including this one, as the ball on the 5th comes to Kai Morgan, who goes with the high bomb, and it's easily taken in the end by Evan Stevenson, who brings it back for Trinity. So a strong start by the young Rhinos. There's now Wakefield with Sam Kavanagh making their way slowly towards the 30. There's now Ellis Roberts backing his way over the 30, reach about the 35, nearly at the 40. That dummy half, it comes to Camplin. Loose forward, pushing towards halfway now. Wakefield looking to turn that early surge from the Rhinos around to reach the 5th tackle. Ball comes back in the hands of Eli Saul, who goes with the high kick. Riley Lum back under it. Good to see Riley back in action after his concussion. He's finished up protocol, and the full-back is truly back in along with that man, Will Gators, as well. So Leeds working their way back through the motions. Kai Morgan feeds the ball. Jack Smith coming in off the wing, takes an important carry out of the backfield, gets Leeds over the 40. It's now Lum with his second carry of this set. Does well, the young fullback now. Tui of dummy half. Shane 208 trying to a new position as that ball to Smith. Looks a little tad forward. The player's allowed to come on. It's out wide. Neil Chamambe. And Leeds strike first. Neil Chamambe scoring in the corner. Safe score from the Rhinos. That was a darting run out of dummy half from Shane Tohey. Just set Wakefield's defence a little bit fractured. And off the back of that, Kai Morgan with the all-important carries flung that ball wide. Looked a tad forward, I think, onto Jack Smith, but they all count. The centre then setting up Neil Chamambe for his 7th try, of 2022. Scored in every game apart from the defeat to Bradford last time out. But make sure he opens his account early on, after only 4 minutes here at Stanningley. As Kai Morgan looks to add the extras. It's a touchline conversion, so it's going to be a little bit tougher than what the halfback's slightly used to. As he kicks with that right foot, tries to swing it back across. The flags go up. Taking the score to 6-0 to the young Rhinos after only 5 minutes here at Stanningley. The young Rhinos lead. So Wakefield getting the game back on the way. It only seemed like they'd kicked off maybe moments ago. It's been a quick start from the Rhinos as Kydon Frater. A very strong run. Just tries to break through that Wakefield edge defence as best as he can. Leeds truly on the front foot right now. Gators with that carry. It's Lum feeds Higgins. Short pass at the line, working his way up towards halfway as the sun begins to set here on a beautiful evening at Stanningley Rugby Club at the Arthur Miller Stadium. Davis carries over the halfway for Leeds. Now Morgan, a bit of speed, a little bit of pace, gets the ball for Lum. Always electric when he gets in these sorts of positions is Riley. There's now Kai Morgan on the last. Kicks deep. Wakefield man's there, takes it well enough. And Dylan Proud, straight up in his face, takes the ball. It was Joe Law with the catch. Now Robbie Mann tries and brings the ball back. But Wakefield truly already taken a backward step with that early try. Let's see what they can do. It's now Joe Law. Tackled on the 30. As he gets ready, plays the ball safe enough. Now it's Charles Tetley, Just edges his way towards the 40. Wakefield going to be forced to kick from deep again in the end of that set. Josh Phillips booting it away, but it doesn't get very far at all. About 20 metres or so, again swallowed up by Riley Lum. So now let's try scorer Chimambe. Another strong carry from Neil. He's one that's really stepped up since coming into Chev Walker's side in 2022. Gators now goes searching. Gilmore, his first carry of the game. There's a nice little fend, but then hit hard by Ryan Kirkwood. Trying to twist him in the tackle and get him at odds and evens. There's Freight, a bit of space in front of him there, Kaiden, trying to work with what he can. In the end, is taken down. 20 metres out here, Leeds. Morgan with the chip and chase. Has he got a man back there? Now bounces really nicely for the half-back. In the end, taken by Robbie Mann. And it's a goal line dropout for the Rhinos. Superb play there from Kai Morgan. Beautifully weighted chip over the top from the young half-back, who's another that's really coming into his own this year. Saying pre-match, almost perfect conditions, Dan, for this, and I totally agree with him. There's only a little bit of wind. It's a nice bit of wind out there, but also the heat has a good temperature as well. As Freighter uses his foot to take that one, but then goes back into the markers. This is his strength where he can. Just try and break a tackle if he can. It's now Higgins, straight at Luke Camplin. In the end, putting his back by the loose forward. Leeds knocking on the door again. Davis shifts the ball nicely. Morgan goes short to Robinson. It's a nice run from Ashton that time. Now Leeds goes short. Higgins trying to roll his way over the line, but just as unfortunate. He's so close there, the prop forward. Toei. Morgan can't step out the challenge of Kavanagh coming in off the edge. In the end, it's taken down 5 metres out. On tackle 5. As Freighter just could not take that floating ball. The Wakefield man was quick off his line, and in the end Leeds come up with the error. It's Wakefield with Roberts to work his way towards the 30. He's over the 30 actually, more towards the 40. Is now Camplin. Those all important tackles to stop Leeds getting something, anything on that last play. As Tommy Lee Cork shifts the ball on. They're trying to move the ball nicely here as Sam Kavanagh. A bit of space in front of him on this edge. Gatorson, Dylan Proud shuts it, but give away a set restart. So Wakefield with a fresh set of 6 in the bag. Forward with Tetley. Wakefield trying to reply to that early Neil Chimambe try for the Rhinos. It's a nice little passing movement. It's a poor one in the end. It was Eli Saul and Robbie Mann trying to connect up, but the ball just dropped to the turf, and Tom Delaney does really well to keep hold of it. As now Law back in towards the 20 metres. Possibly the ball 20 out on tackle 3. Short pass there from Saul on for Roberts, but in the end it's a tough one for the prop forward to take, and Leeds get the turnover and get lucky on that time. Smith. I think they're saying there's going to be a touch off a Leeds man as that ball went down. Let's just see what the referee signals here. And it is going to be a Wakefield ball, interestingly enough. Whether that ball as it was passed by Saul on for Roberts, whether that was just a bit, there's a fingertip, if anything, on that. It didn't look to be much. As Wakefield now, with Phillips feeding man. There's a bit of space out wide. He runs straight into Dylan Proud and Will Gatiss. The ball gets stripped on the fullback and it's a penalty. So it's about the third or fourth consecutive set now for Trinity. It's all the Yorkshire clash. Leeds Rhinos under-18s 6, Wakefield Trinity 0. Trinity tried to reply to that early try. Saul. Man, there's a nice bit of space that's opened up. Jack Smith tries to get there. It's Joe Law who goes over for Trinity and brings the away side back to within 2. It's Leeds Rhinos under-18 6, Wakefield Trinity 4.
What am I supposed to drink? What am I supposed to drink? No, I didn't. I just went down.
So Wakefield looking to turn 4 points into 6 with this conversion. I believe it's Robbie Mann who is looking to do that, the fullback. Just taking his time with this one. The clock winds past 10 minutes played. It is Robbie Mann looking to convert the left-footed kicker, trying to swing it back among the uprights, but the flag stays down on that occasion. Score remains Rhinos under-18 6, Wakefield under-18s 4. After 12 minutes played. After such an energetic start from the young Rhinos, looks as if they were going to go back-to-back following that try from Neil Chimambe, but Wakefield held out and had, like I say, about 3 or 4 consecutive sets on the Rhinos line, and you just can't afford to give that sort of field position and possession in general away if you're going to look to add points. But Wakefield look to beat their way forward as Tetley takes that charge. Gets a quick play of the ball as well, which Kirkwood will really like. Shifts it onto Camplin. Moves towards the 40. 3 in the tackle for Leeds, including Robinson and Davis. Wakefield, that ball just right on the shoulder of the man that was trying to take it in. I'm not sure who it was coming off the edge. Straight hit his shoulder, and Leeds get the ball in a real nice position. 40 metres away from their opponent's try line. A nice bit of room to work as well. There's a couple of players look lively. Caiden Frater, Dylan Proud, and Kai Morgan, as we've seen already, tried a little chip and chase and was instrumental in the Chimambe try. As Leeds, from the scrum with Frater, sends it on to Proud. Tries to get it away past Stevenson and Kavanagh, but in the end ends up nearly being pushed over the touchline. It's a good save from the centre. It was so close to maybe going out of play. Now Gatiss off the edge. His wing working his way towards the 20. Leeds eager to add more points to that scoreline. Higgins now. Well over that 20, closing in on the 10. Toey. For Gilmore, shapes, straightens up and goes at the line. Right under the posts here, Leeds. They're close enough to those posts as Morgan shifts a short pass to Robinson on the 4th. Now wanting a quick play of the ball as well, because it's on the 5th tackle. That pass wasn't great to Morgan, who has to grub it through the middle. It's chipped up in the end by the Wakefield man, and in the end, another poor finish to the set from Leeds. I can see the idea from Kai, but just the execution just wasn't quite there as it came off the foot of, I believe it was Kirkwood. And in the end, Wakefield are coming back now with Law, the try scorer. It's down and plays the ball. It's now off the edge, Tommy Lee Cork. It's one of his first carries of the game. It's now on the 5th with Phillips. Just hoofs it away, lungs there. It's a good take from the fullback again. He's just working himself back into that game fitness. Like I say, missed the last couple of games through a concussion which he suffered in the 18s win against Castleford. He leads his 7th consecutive win of the season on that night. It's a 6th consecutive win, and then before the game for the trip to Bradford, should I say. He just came up short against the Bulls on that occasion. Higgins over the 40, closing in towards the 30. Leeds really dominating territory actually, and come up trumps there. It's an unfortunate one. Higgins just not playing the ball correctly, and it's going to be a Wakefield ball again. Just shy of the halfway point of the first half. We're at Leeds Rhinos 6, Wakefield Trinity 4. So Neil Chimambe scoring for the Rhinos before Joe Law replied for Wakefield. This all Yorkshire clash. Wakefield, like I said, looking for their 2nd win of the season. Are we looking to finish a bit higher than I think they are currently in the Academy Championship, while Leeds, the win would be really helpful, as they currently sit 3rd behind Hull FC and St Helens, just ahead of them, as that's a nice offload away to Kirkwood, who was just waiting behind, shifts the ball out wide to Stevenson, who steps back inside just to be safe. It was a nice offload actually from Tetley on that occasion. It's Kirkwood for Phillips, drops it off, on comes Ethan Wood. Just over that 40-metre mark. Now it's Roberts. Robinson and Toey in the tackle for Leeds now as Saul. Short ball for Kavanagh. Now they're trying to work his way on the 4th, but now they reach the 5th. Wakefield. Passing inside. It's a grubber kick ahead from Phillips. There's no one there. It's allowed to bounce all over the ground, and in the end, Cork, I think, is the man who's got to it first. It is, but in the end, Proud and Freighter were there to tackle the man, and there's no danger. Disaster averted on that occasion from Chef Walker's side. Lum slips in that tackle as he tried to straighten up. Now Chimambe gets a nice break, goes nice as through the first man, and gets a few post-contact meters too. Something that we've come to be a good trait of the young winger in 2022. It's a one-on-one strip there by Cork on Lum, and they'd be a little bit angry with himself there, Riley, that he's giving that one away. He's giving Wakefield over, giving a lifeline, and then Leeds penalised for offside. It's unfortunate there for Leeds because they were coming forward quite nicely, trying to work their way off the back of the Wakefield try. But in the end, just Wakefield were more alert to the task. Cork ripping that ball, and then you get a penalty off the back of it. It's a lifesaver. It's a life belt for scoring points, as we just had a short break in play Wakefield man just down in back play receiving some treatment. I believe it's Roberts. No, it was Cork, the man, excuse me, who, like I said, did that all-important rip on Lum to win possession back for Trinity. And he's allowed to play on, so we're back underway. Roberts powers his way towards the uprights. 10 metres out. Also here, Wakefield is a Camplin with a short pass trying to go his way through two. He's well held up. Robinson and Higgins in there making the challenge, and Lum as well just sends Jake Higgins up at marker. There's now Tetley. Can't get the offload away this time. He's looking for it though. He's trying to get that hand free. See what he can do with it. That's a great short pass to Cork. Is he over? As the man who ripped the ball and got Wakefield to try. Yes, he has. Second try of the game. It's Tommy Lee Cork for Wakefield, who take a 2-point lead. It's Leeds Rhinos Under-18s 6, Wakefield Trinity Under-18s 8. And it was the man that came up with the all-important strip that got Wakefield the ball back. And in the end, it's the back rower, number 12, Tommy Lee Cork, who gets the try. And gives Wakefield their first lead of the evening. It's turned into a really nice evening. Sun just setting behind our commentary position here. As man looks to convert on this time, he missed the first, pulled it short. Nice left foot, nice and easy, swings it away, makes a score. 10 points to 6 in favour of Trinity. As we've just gone past the 20-minute mark, 23 minutes played. And Leeds really lost all that momentum that they had so much of early on. Scoring that early try, it only took a matter of minutes, just inside 5 minutes as Neil Tremambe's try. And they're calling in the reinforcements as Jake Higgins, comes from the field. And Tobias Gibson makes his way on. A couple of power props Leeds to bring onto the field. Tobias being one of them. They've also got Jack Johnson. He's also available, and Elliot Whittaker too made his first academy appearance, against Bradford. Zach McSwinney as well. It'd be good to see Zach on his home venue, a Stanningley lad, make his first appearance. But that's yet to come as Wakefield, leaders in this game, 10 points to 6 the score. They make the change too. Courage McElharney coming on the field. His hands demanding the ball, the big forward, but instead they got the short side. Try scorer Cork over the halfway. Kirkwood decided to grub a kick out of dummy half, sends it away. Lum's there, picks it up nice and sweetly. Gators is waiting, almost wanting the ball, but acts then as a bit of a cover for the fullback. And earns a 6 again as well. Great referee in there. Wakefield just get the second effort in, and it's an easy penalty in the end to give away to the Rhinos. They come forward now with Smith. So energetic. He's got 3 tries in his last 3 games, Jack Smith. There'll be a man that'll be out searching for another today, along with Neil. So many great try-scoring records. And Will Gators as well, obviously before his injury. Serial try-scorers in this young Rhinos side. Robinson from the Castleford/Leeds club at Kippocks, as Tui tries a little dart out dummy half. He scored a great try against Bradford in that from played on the wing on that occasion. He's playing at hooker today as Morgan with the kick. Out wide, nice and easily takes. Drops in the end. Picked up by Dylan Proud. Try time for Leeds. The mistake by Evan Stevenson. And the try scored by Dylan Proud gets Leeds back in the game. It's 10-all after 25 minutes. So the error there from Evan Stevenson. It's proving fatal for Wakefield. And it gives Morgan a great chance to convert. The sun, it's just slightly obscuring our view from our commentary position. It's still very low tonight. Nevertheless, a beautiful evening as Morgan sets himself up, takes a few steps and kills that nicely back round. Leeds retake the lead. It's the Young Rhinos 12, Wakefield Trinity 10. Game on once again here at Stanningley. Energetic. Leeds finally finding their rhythm. It's something they're really glad about. It was that last 10 minutes or so, just since they weren't able to score the try, just seemed to frustrate Chev Walker's side a little bit. Plus the set restarts didn't help at all, but and now they're back in front. 2 points in the game. As Gators charges himself forward. His big carry the ball will. They have to work the outside backs too as well. Really good for Walker's side as now T. Gibson gets a nice offload away. And here's a try scorer, Proud. Goes at the line, looks a little high there for my liking on the winger. Instead, Leeds coming forward with Lum. Just trying to twist and earn the penalty if he can. Under the tackle from Courage as Kaiden Freight, loses the ball in that tackle. It's picked up in the end by Camplin. And another chance there, just goes begging for Leeds. Looking so confident, the Young Rhinos. He's now coming forward. Here's Blake Colton. Gets a nice offload. Gets a big roar from the Rhinos players as they hit the prop, but in the end, that ball looked a tad forward as well from Kirkwood. And Wakefield trying to use what they can here as Kirkwood goes out dummy half. A nice bit of window opportunity opened up on the last, but it's a turnover to Leeds and they get lucky. Let's go back to that roar from the Rhinos players. It was all good that they'd hit the man, but really could have done with wrapping up the ball as well. Didn't need to be giving the offload away. And they're gaining the more metres on that second phase. Comfortable with ball back in hand now. Ben Littlewood. He's had a lot of action yet. Ben usually at the loose forward role, playing in the back row today. Paired up along with Dylan Proud and Will Gators. As Billy Davis looks to have that ball stripped for me, and it is a strip ball, says the referee. So Leeds with another chance to attack. They're only, with the kick that Morgan's going to put in, only going to put them about 25 metres or so maybe. Morgan does so, and it is more 30. Let's say 30 from that try line. But Leeds, as Gilmore trying to bundle his way over towards the 20. Gibson, nice ball out the back, gets it to Morgan, who drops it inside for Robinson. He's just forced onto the floor and plays it nicely. Gibson Again, passes the ball instead of running it. As that ball goes up in the air, it was originally for Harrison. It's going to be allowed play on. It's picked up by Gators, who's going to try and go around the outside. He ended up taking down, and the tackle count's been wiped as well for the Rhinos. Freighter, nice little step from the halfback. Goes back into the markers. It wouldn't have been wise. Trying to push that ball wide might have been, though. Morgan skirts across the line. Flat ball for Littlewood. Can't turn his back, or can he? That ball looks down to me. And it's going to be a try. It's try time for Leeds. Ben Littlewood, the scorer, extends Leeds' lead. It's now 16 points to 10 with a kick to come. So third try of the first half for Leeds, and it was a good one at that. As Littlewood been put through on that short pass from Kai Morgan. He goes crashing under the uprights as Morgan now adds the extras. It's a perfect 3 from 3. And that was a score. And that makes the score 18-10. And Leeds back in that commanding lead. An 8-point advantage over Trinity after a surge from Jay Pitts' side. We're inside the last 10 minutes of the half. And what a half it's been. Very impressive from both sides. They both have their hiccups at points, but still. Wakefield making a double change as well. 2 players coming off the field for them. Just adds to the fresh set of bodies out there to start running that ball. Start causing a bit of disruption among the Leeds attack and hit them hard in defence too. As Kirkwood goes high, Chirambe has to come for it. The arms are in the air. It's a safe catch from the winger. Steps back. It's a good carry again as well from Chirambe. Gets himself towards his own 30. Gators looks to back it up. Leeds is outside backs going to do some major work here in this first half. 2 of the 3 tries scored by outside backs, and now Lum. It's a set play. It's working so effectively for Chev Walker's side. Tui gives it on to Gibson. Great to see Tobias back in the team. I think it's his second or third appearance. Morgan, short pass. Robinson, another that's looked lively. Going at the line. It's Tui out of dummy half. Steps away. Can't get the ball quite away. We know nothing wrong with that at all from the young man. Littlewood, the latest try scorer. A bit of space in front of him as well to have a run. As on the last, Morgan. Grubbers out to the left-hand side, and it looks as though Proudy's going to get to it. In the end, it's safely picked up by Kavanagh, who's pushed back then. It didn't goal. So it's going to be a goal line dropout for Leeds. Keeping that momentum going, keeping that pressure on. This is a great way to end the half. We've seen them build pressure before, the young Rhinos. They've made it count only recently. They had that period early in the half, if you remember. They just couldn't make it count. That's why Wakefield fought themselves back into it, but we're trying to get one more try before half-time here, the Rhinos. 5 minutes or so remaining in the half. There's Gilmore into 3 tackles. It's going to be almost 4. There is 4. And yet he still backs himself towards the line. Does the prop forward. There's now Gibson looking himself for the line. There's a couple of players looking, try and get herself over. You just saw not how easily, but how effectively Ben Littlewood was put through that short gap from Morgan, who steps now, tries to step away from Tui. Unfortunate on this occasion. And now Tui, out of dummy half. Shane Tui! Oh, looked to ground the ball, but I think he lost it as he was grounding it. So unfortunate there for the young man. It's going to be a 20-metre tap for Wakefield. So unfortunate there from Shane. Looked all but set to score. The gap opened up in front of him and everything. Now back on the defensive front for the Rhinos as Law. Wakefield's first half try scorers. Him and Tommy Lee Cork, the two that have crossed the whitewash for Jay Pitts' side this evening. Jay Pitts, one of those that knows the Rhinos academy system very well. A former Rhino himself. As Kirkwood doesn't quite get that ball to Camplin when he wanted it, and in the end has to take the tackle himself. Now instead he goes at the line. I think that's Freddie Lambert just couldn't reel it in, and instead Leeds bring it away through Lum. Effective again from the Rhinos. Now Jack Smith making the meters with a carry, but Leeds making the changes. It's Jack Johnson who is on the field. Tobias Gibson coming from the field. He's had a really good stint there, Toby. Gets high fives from the bench, but Jack Johnson, another that's highly effective, and here he is. Going at the line, Jack. Plays the ball. Tui. Freighter. A little dab over the top. Looking to put man under some pressure, and Gators gets to him first. Trying to roll him back towards his own try line. Just can't on this. So close. Just can't quite get him there. It's now Delaney. Throwing the ball wide. Trying to make something happen here. As Evan Stevenson tries to get involved. There's the ball, now Law. Leeds' defence really muscling up. Look how close to the try line they are. They're not far away at all. They're going to be forced to kick from deep as well if there isn't a penalty that's given away. It's on the last. Comes to Phillips, just puts his foot straight through the ball. It bounces right next to Riley Lum, quite conveniently actually. And the fullback coolly picks it up. As he does, he's a cool customer, Riley. Plays the ball on halfway. Leeds. Matter of moments left in this first half. With Gators. Now Morgan. Darts goes to the line. He's really creative guy. Quick on his feet, light on his feet. Just knows where he can find it. It's Johnson. He's just left it in the tackle. There's a man down still in the tackle from on Jack Johnson. It looks a little bit serious. He's been left on the ground. Just while he receives a bit of treatment, it looks a little bit serious. We're just going to take a break. The Wakefield man makes his way from the field. It's Cameron Phillips. Taken from the field by the medical staff. Good to see that he has been able to make his way from the field by himself. So Leeds, Johnson playing it. Final act of this first half. It's Davis, good little charge from Billy Davis. About 50 metres from the try line. Morgan goes, short pass, try scorer. He's got Proud, he's got one already today. Is he going to get another? Well, this time, in the end, it's a turnover. And Wakefield will have the ball on their try line to end the half. Because that's Courage and Kulani. And now Stevenson off the wing, just dumped in the tackle by Gilmore and Robinson, who walk away unfazed. So they knew it was controlled. They knew it was good. As Phillips plays a short ball. Kulani again. This is way towards the 30, but this is another good defensive set if Leeds can hold Wakefield here. Law tries a bit of play down that far side, but Chimambe and Smith are up to the task. It forces Saul to kick from his own 40. He's going to reach the 30. Gates is under pressure from Crook, but in the end, it's taken down. Just shy of the 40. Lum with a bit of space. Sets off, puts those afterburners on, tries his best if he can to get through the first tackle. Now Robinson plays the ball on the 40. Morgan for Smith. Fends away from one. And that marks the first half here at Stanningley. An eventful first half sees the Rhinos lead 18-10 at half-time. Neil Chimambe getting the scoring underway after only 5 minutes before then Joe Law came in and brought the score to within 2 points. Then, just like that, it was 10 points to 6 as Tommy Lee Cork gave the visitors their first lead of the night. But then Leeds came bouncing back. Dylan Proud pouncing on a mistake from Evan Stevenson before Ben Littlewood crashed his way under the posts to make the half-time score. Leeds Rhinos Under-18s 18, Wakefield Trinity Under-18s 10. So teams are back out here at Stanningley for the second half. The Rhinos just edging with an 8-point lead at the break. After a confident first half, it'll be Lum that gets us underway, and I'm pleased to be joined for this second half by reserves prop forward Danny Salkeld. Danny, first of all, welcome into the booth. But cheers, second of all, what's your assessment of that first half? It's a tough one, I guess.
Yeah, I thought we started really well. I thought we transitioned really well. We've been working a lot on that this week. But I think towards sort of the back end of it, the sort of last 15, we switched off a little bit and allowed them to come back in. I thought we were in arm wrestle really well. Played most of footy in their half for that opening bit, and then sort of a few mistakes and penalties led them back in there. I don't think they got in our half without a penalty, but if we can just squeaky that bit up, we should be all right in this half.
I was going to say that 10 minutes that the boys struggled. I'd say struggled in quotation marks, because I think really it was those set restarts and that really punished us. But going forward, it's been a lot different to that Bradford game.
Definitely, it's looking a lot more positive. I think look a lot more switched on. Look like the players are doing their jobs. I think if we can just stick to that, we should be right. It's a good turnover there from Wakefield, but I think the positive thing at the moment for us, our outside backs are carrying really, really strong and giving us middles a good break. And I think, you've got Riley, Will, Neil all carrying, making 100 plus metres every game, and it really does help our middles out. So if we can just transition, get into their half and let our middles defend and they carry it back, I think we'll be all right. Yeah.
I was going to say it's been a feature of the team all year. Is the outside backs making those breaks. So it's great having a player like Riley Lum back in for sure.
Absolutely. You've got some big boots to fill with it. Alfie missing out, obviously, he's a big part of that team. But I thought Riley stepped up really well. I think, obviously, looking not just on stats, but just during in-play game, his stats have been brilliant. He's averaging over 100 metres every game. I think, yeah, it's been good.
That's a stat.
That's not bad, is it?
That's a stat and a half.
I think last week it was 16 caddies, 150 odd metres.
What an effort.
Yeah, and obviously I only played 20 minutes in that cast game and got over 120 metres in 20 minutes, which speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Massive. Especially as a middle, it's nice having your outside back to do that for you, because it means you're not exposing all of it coming out of yardage.
Here's a big forward right now in Harrison Gilmore. He's not one of the wrecking ball displays we've seen from Harrison so far, but no doubt in this second half that could come as Leeds go wide with Gators trying to work his way towards the edge. Another that's worked quite well this year, but I think the referee's going to say this is going to go back. Wakefield are celebrating, but I think this is going to be a turnover. I was going to say it might have called held.
I thought it called held there, yeah. No, it looks like it's going to be a turnover here, but it's not an ideal intercept, but it's positive field position. If we can limit the yards here, get a good kick chase back and get back, get a good kick away, and just get back into that arm wrestle like we were in first half. 'Cause I think in first 15, I mean, they didn't get out of our half. I thought they were brilliant, but just get back into that arm wrestle.
As Wakefield, coming away sort of 30 metres from their own try line. Leeds really had to limit that in the first half. It's a big carry from Tetley over towards the halfway. Kai Morgan really put his body on the line to get in the way of that one. There's now Lambert. Backs himself. There's a knock on. Kai Morgan was adamant there, wasn't it? That ball had come out as Kulani, I'm couldn't get my words out. Here he comes again, the big forward.
Thought he's been good off the bench so far.
He's caused a lot of problems for the forwards, hasn't he?
Definitely, yeah. He's carried really, really well. He's a good threat. No space for that offload there. Just pushing Leeds back again.
It was a perfect offload, and Leeds absolutely swarming 3 players straight in there as Kirkwood finds Phillips. He's kicking towards the middle of the field. There's a chase on it. It's going to be too long.
I think ref said he's touched it there.
I think he said he's touched that, yeah.
I'm not too sure about that. I think he's claimed he's stuck a leg out and it's come off a Leeds player.
In the end, it's going to be a dropout to Leeds. It ends up going just short, and it comes off a Wakefield man. It bounces back into a tackle. That is going to be a knock on. Get a little bit lucky there.
Wait a minute. Ball, yeah, it came off Kai Morgan there. Yeah. Kai's gone for ball there. It was a lovely dropout right in his eyes, but he's unfortunate not to get there, Kai. He's committed really well.
I was going to say, there was the second knock on, but
yeah,
always going to pull that sort of play back.
Need a big reaction here. If we can keep them out, obviously, first half conceding 2 tries off goal line D. I'm sure Chev's mentioned it at half time, sharpen up our sort of last 20 D, and I'm sure I'll be looking for a reaction here.
As Wakefield with that scrum feed that we say. Trying to hold it in the scrum as well, try and catch Leeds offside. It's a clever penalty. It's a clever penalty that they're just. It's something that we're seeing a bit more of in the modern game. Yeah. That the people they're trying to get them penalties from scrum plays. As Roberts comes up into the line, Leeds looking to defend that line well. Short ball ended up being crashed upon. The ball comes out actually. Riley Lum's picked it up. Brilliant from Leeds. Perfect, just what the boys needed. A great lift.
Yeah, it'd be a massive confident boost there. They needed that after half time. A successful goal line D, and look how we can build on yardage here. Get back in there half, start playing some footy in there half.
Neil's one of those players that will definitely get you the yardage to get back into their half. He just doesn't stop.
No,
he's
he doesn't.
Absolutely relentless.
Yeah, he's been brilliant this year for us. Obviously, he's made the step up to reserves last week. I thought he was great against Warrington. Carried really well for us, and he'll do that dirty work for you all there.
How have you found the younger guys that have stepped up into the reserves grade and that have been given game time? Because Chev's not been shy in saying we're going to give these guys a go as well as the likes of yourself and Jared O'Connor's and the people of that ilk.
I mean, it's obviously such a young age. I think some of them 17, barely scraping 18. It's such a massive achievement for them, and it just shows how their hard work's paying off in these 18s games. I think the 18s had a great run so far. Obviously had a bit of a knock last week against Bradford, but I feel like they'll come back stronger from that. But obviously they'll learn a lot in reserves playing with the more experienced players, the likes of Johnson and Broadbent, O'Connor. They'll learn a lot from them lads, and I think it'll be great for them. And I think they've dealt with it really well so far. There's not been games where they've played and you thought they'd let the side down. I think they've only added to it, and I think they've been great so far.
It's passing that knowledge, isn't it, down that you say the likes of Corey Johnson's, your Jack Broadbents and that have picked up, but Leeds in much need of a turnover or something at some point here. Wakefield dart out dummy half with Phillips, tries to get the ball away for Sawley, just can't on that occasion. Leeds get ready to bring Ethan Whittaker on, Elliot Whittaker, on, and the ball comes out, won by Leeds. Right along again.
Another big turnover on our line. If Elliot's won on now, needs a big impact here. I expect him to have a few carries, early contributions, get the team going forward again.
He's coming on in place of Harrison Gilmore, and here he is, Elliot Whittaker. A Stanningley lad, much like yourself, Danny. It says a couple of guys been represented the community club. How this is a really great turnout tonight. What sort of stuff does this mean for the club and to be representing Stanningley at the Rhinos too?
It's unreal. It's such a nice feeling. Obviously, growing up watching Rhinos play when I was younger, both reserve grade and 18s, 19s, it's just massive having, especially for community lads. Obviously, you know, you've got Zach, Elliot, and Shane, and all playing tonight, all coming from amateur rep. It's just massive for the club.
That kick there looked a little bit unorthodox. Man wasn't quite underneath that one at all. I think it was Riley that was around searching around. If not, it was Kaiden or Dylan. He was trying to get the hands on the ball where they could. This is Lambert.
Much better end to set there, obviously. Getting a kick high up, chasing it, contending for it. It's much better instead of playing football an hour and a half. Try to kick deep, try to get a chase, but that was nice.
It was right, it was beautiful. As Leeds now trying to get the man over the sideline. Just can't. There's 3 players with Kai Morgan, Jack Smith, a couple of the others. Is now Camplin. Gets a bit of reaction from the fans that are just below us as well. Roberts over the 40 on the 5th tackle. It's going to be a kick here. We're going to come into the hands of Phillips, who goes high and then bounces over the sideline. Poor kick.
Yeah, well, he at least found a bit of grass before it a touch. You know, taking a bit of positive from that, but probably expecting a bit better there, a better end to set. It's a decent turnover from Leeds, and can work our way up here and just complete again. It's a big factor for us. Obviously, we are still in the lead. Just completing our sets, getting to our kicks, and getting a good transition. It's a big thing for us here.
Obviously, they don't want to be kicking to Gatus and Chimambe. They'll have identified that, but you'd have still said, let's find some grass further downfield. In fact, it's 10 metres, if that, from where they actually ended the set in the end.
Absolutely, mate. I think, obviously, if you're kicking into our back three's hands, it's sort of playing into sort of our game plan, letting them carry, because they will make meters. I think it's very hard to limit that sort of carry, because when they do carry, they make meters, and it's so much better for half middles. That's what you see here.
It's just a nice break here, and Chimambe's the way down the sideline, cuts back in field. Neil Chimambe looking for a second, and he gets it. Brilliant try from Neil, and a second try for the Rhinos takes the score to 22 points to 10 with a kick to come, Danny. A great try from those outside backs, and notably Neil Chimambe.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that just shows the sort of danger that we have down that right and left edge. But it was well spotted from Kai, obviously. We like to hammer down the short sides, and it was a great shout from Kai to call down that side and identify where we had a bit of space. And it was really good work from Jack to sort of draw in the centre and the winger, and a great finish by Neil.
And not for the first time we've seen today. That's pretty much close enough to the first try scored. Near enough, just from a little bit further out, a bit more effort required.
Yeah, it was a great finish.
Nothing shy of what we know that Neil can do, eh?
Absolutely not. See the big man coming back into play now. Jake Higgins
coming back in. Ben Littlewood being given a quick timeout. They'll move Jack Johnson into the back row.
Been impressed with Ben. Thought he's put a great stint in. Obviously, he's played back row, which I don't think he's played much this year. He's starting at 13, so I think he's done really well in back row. And then obviously moving into middle. It's an hard transition. You know, it's 2 different things, so I think he's done really well.
Plus a try boosts a bit of confidence, doesn't it?
It's nice. It's a nice feeling, yeah.
As Kai Morgan looks to convert. And he does so. 4 from 4. Leeds Rhinos 24. Wakefield Trinity 10.
Be happy with that. Good response after half time. Thought we transitioned really well. Starting to get a bit more field possession there half, but it just shows the danger. If we can just keep our structure and keep defending, it just shows the danger that we can have to score from anywhere on field, really, because it's not really come from any broken play. We sort of made that ourselves. I think we'll be happy with that.
It's more satisfying. I get that's where Kyle gain a lot more confidence from the fact that you look at something and you go, I created that. Yeah, it's where that confidence just comes from, isn't it?
Definitely. I think going forward now, having that bit of confidence will do the world good, because I think obviously watching 18s this year, there's not many better ball playing 7s out there, and I think it'll take a lot of confidence from that.
A Yorkshire representative as well, Kai. As Leeds coming forward, Gatus this time. Toey gives it on to Johnson, moving the ball again quite nicely here onto Ashton Robinson.
That looks a lot better. That looks more structured, sort of identifying targets there, getting to a good point in the field.
He's doing a lot of work that isn't getting a lot of he's not getting recognised as much, Ashton. He's getting through those plays. He's getting through it really well.
I think he's been brilliant, Ash. He's a good trainer. He's a very, very solid man. Obviously, I think his main sort of game comes defensively. I think he hits like an absolute truck and he knows when to hit. But I think in attack as well, he just works hard and he just makes it. Obviously, it's nice having Kai outside him who can sort of direct him around a bit. But I think he runs some great lines and obviously he makes plenty of metres from it.
And it was a nice kick away from Morgan to man on that occasion, who comes back towards the 20. It's Wakefield looking to counteract. It's extended that lead now. It's out to 14 points in favour of the home side after just after 15 minutes or so. Closing in on the hour mark. Roberts hit well by Johnson, who's one of those that's come off the bench. We've seen him have a few minutes out there, Jack. Ball comes back to Phillips, who kicks long, forces Chimambe and Lum to go back, and Lum's the man who picks it up just by the post pads before bringing it back in again, as we can expect. It's like Danny said as well, those outside backs for the Rhinos are just unstoppable at the minute. Neil with those 2 tries, but also preparing to bring it back into the line. And here's Neil again, looking for the offload too.
I mean, just off the back of those 2 carries, we're already up to our 40. I mean, it's just such a massive relief because the forwards aren't having to come back as much. We can sort of just, at times you can just sit on 40 and they'll expect you to bring it back anyway. So it's massive confidence for them.
All the while it's building pressure on. That's a big hit there from Robinson. It's building that pressure on Wakefield. There's a stoppage in play. He's left 2 players down there, Ashton. That's the power of the man.
Yeah, well, I felt that a few times in training. He runs tackles just like that every week in, week out. Yeah, very strong runner.
So 2 receiving treatment here for Wakefield. So it took a little bit longer to get going, but 53 minutes into the game, 30 minutes into the second half, Neil Chimambe struck for his second try, taking the score to 24-10 in favour of these young Rhinos.
It's been a similar start to the first half of the second half. Obviously, I think we're winning this arm wrestle at the moment. Obviously, Neil scoring early as well. It's just a matter of now is can we keep it? Can we keep in the arm wrestle? Can we keep building, creating some pressure and sort of try finishing their half? We haven't played much footy in their 20, so hopefully Kai can get a kick away into their 20 and let's try pin him in.
Well, like you were saying as well, actually, although we were scoring points from at that range, actually, our attack within their sort of 10-15 metre line wasn't brilliant. It could have been better. So actually, what better place than to try plant yourself back down there, and maybe if you can't score, just to try build something and build a bit of get a bit more comfortable for some of those younger guys that maybe haven't been there before and are still trying to learn what it's like to structure a play down there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think their outside backs haven't really done much work down carrying, so I think if we can just see what they're made of. Obviously our middles, they like to whack a bit, so see what they're made of and just kind of keep them in there. And even if we don't score points, it's spending time down there that pressure will crack her eventually.
So you say the outside backs haven't got a lot of work to do there.
Yeah, I think their middles have carried brilliantly. The Wakefield middles have been brilliant today, I think.
It's the man who has to come from the field. It's Ethan Wood who's just out here working his way around. That's just for his own safety. I believe that'll be for a HIA as Jack Johnson, a nice pass for Kai Morgan, keeps the ball moving on and that ball comes out. It's going to be a strip against Wakefield. Much needed penalty for the young Rhinos. The 2 fingers got from you. I won't quite say we're playing playoff football just yet.
I'll take 2 here. Keep the clock ticking. I know Kyle likes to kick it at corner. He'll fancy his chances and get some points on board here. And I'll back him to do so.
And that kick will put the Rhinos about 20 metres, if not, well inside, about more 15 metres from the try line. Dylan Prouding's hands on the ball. 1 try today, could have had a second. Dylan is energetic as always. So the referee just pulls that ball back. And that'll be Frater. Davis still slightly behind him. Look a little bit more awkward, but still ever cool. And takes that one in. Johnson onto Morgan, spreading it nicely. Here goes the halfback. just trying to get himself over the line. There's a shout. I think he thought he might have been. And that pass from Tui's really good for Jack Smith. Gives it off for Riley Loom, who just puts his head down and powers for the line. He's held up. Unfortunate there from Leeds, but they're keeping on knocking on that door. That penalty goes to Wakefield. I think he's given this for an incorrect play of the ball. It might have just been impeding the markers as well. That looked a really nice play when it was coming down this side, and so he saw Jack pass it on the inside to Riley. Not that you back Riley to score it every time, but you know how much.
Bit of a get out of jail there. I think we had a chance to put some real pressure on him, and just looked a bit panicky at times. I think we just need to relax a little bit and get into a bit of a flow of things in their end, but challenge them coming out of a bit of a deeper space now anyway.
Unlike towards the back in that first half where we did so well. As Kirkwood is it on. She's Camplin, gets himself over the 40 away from his own line. It's now Colton working the ball over to that far side of the field. It's Evan Stevenson who's brought down. Now they're bringing it back across with Colton again. Knocking on the door, Wakefield, just trying to build something. That ball looked a little suspect there for Courage Kulani. The referee says we're going to play on no matter. A little double kicking behind, and it's two Leeds players there. Comfortably goes out of play. I think again they're going to give this as a dropout. Unfortunately there for the boys again. Just there was enough cover. I wonder whether the ball just didn't quite go.
Maybe a bit of lack of communication there. Maybe just obviously have to look back and see what happened.
So now Wakefield again with the ball. And that dropout is well taken. It's straight into the arms of a man who just puts his head down, powers for the line if he can. So now bring the ball. It's hit by Tommy Lee Cork, who was the man with the ball, hit by Robinson and Whittaker, who's out on the park. There's now Saul, steps back on his inside, and Tui does really well to get the man down. Good play from the hooker. Now it's Lambert who just muscles up, goes straight for the posts. They're in a good position here, Wakefield. Kulani. 5 out on the 5th tackle. What can Wakefield muster up here? Saul. Is he going to kick? Yes, he Grubber kicks it into the arms of Riley Lum, and this is where it gets dangerous because Leeds are on the break. Neil Chimambe's away. Off goes Neil Chimambe, puts those afterburners on. There's chasers coming, Danny, but they're not catching Neil Chimambe. He's going under the posts. Fantastic again. Hat-trick try from Neil Chimambe. What a way to reach a personal accolade. What a personal performance he's putting in today.
Yeah, that was brilliant from Riley Lum there. Caught it really calmly, carried out really well, and that offload was brilliant, and then Neil just delayed away. I mean, he didn't look like he broke a sweat there.
He didn't even look like he'd reached top gear. He just cantered
he runs
down the field.
Runs so calmly. He must have had a good top speed there.
I think there was a couple of fans that were getting a little bit worried below us, thinking he might not quite get to the post, looking at the players that were chasing up behind him. But you're banking him to score them.
Absolutely, he looks relaxed as ever.
That's to the 3rd try of the game. Takes a score to Leeds Rhinos Under-18s 28, Wakefield 10. The kick to come from Kai Morgan, and truly a nice.
Billy's coming off now.
Yeah, Billy, it is coming off. It's a bit more breathing space between the two now. It's a bit more calming.
Absolutely, I think we've been much better in this second half. I think we've controlled it much better. I think Kai's kicking game's been really good. I think as a whole we've played more in their half, and I think that just shows how dangerous we can be. Even in our own sort of 5-10 metre line, they've gone from an attacking kick, threatening to score. I think they broke us down in midfield a little bit there, but just shows how our outside backs have been brilliant there.
It's actually exemplary of how well our outside backs have been. Just how from the offload, from the catch to the offload, to the sprint to the score. And now Kai Morgan can add the 2 and take this to a 20-point game. He's dead in front. I'd maybe put a small amount of money maybe on him kicking this.
Yeah, never in doubt.
Never in doubt at all. Just on the hour mark, takes it to 30 points to 10 in favour of the young Rhinos. It's not party time just yet. We've seen teams come back at both reserves grade and in the 18s. Have been a couple of tight games this year, but especially for yourself, there's been a couple of nail-biters. Never to note a few. The Warrington last week, but then Hull KR here. It's entertaining though.
Not so much when you're playing in them. You get a bit nervy at times, obviously. A lot of games finishing within 4 points, just one score either way, decisions going either way. It's really not been much in it, but playing quite an experienced opposition, and especially Hull KR and Warrington, I think it's only going to do us good, really, being in those close games, finishing those games out, which we did really well against Hull KR, not so much against Warrington.
The guys spoke really highly of actually playing with the likes of Alex Mellor and against those Super League talented players as Tui goes on a little drive there. How did you find that experience?
Oh, unreal. I think Alex Mellor, Sam Walters also, I was playing quite closely with, and I thought they were brilliant for me. Sort of giving me advice, sort of directing me around, and I think their experience of playing is only going to positively benefit my game.
And that's what we want to hear. That's what the reserves grade's all about. Is hat-trick man Chimambe cuts himself back in field. On the last tackle though, Leeds, Morgan comfortably takes the ball, puts it high in the air, right in the sun for the Wakefield fullback, and Whittaker is there to pick up the ball, but we're coming back for tackle in the air. That's an easy one for the referee to give. I don't think he's just said it's a set read. It's just said that it's a turnover, actually.
I think he looked a bit on the borderline there, whether that was tackled, didn't I? But if that's where it's turned over, it's a much better end to the set for Rhinos.
It didn't look like he'd quite reached the ground, but I'm not.
We're not referees, are we?
We're not referees. That is very true.
He might have seen something different.
As man now receives a little bit of treatment, about 15 minutes or so left in this game. Had a couple of stoppages though at the same time. And it is way too early to ask for man of the match, but get your thinking cap on.
I've got an idea.
So a couple of players that have really stood up tonight. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can head over back to the Leeds Rhinos channel. You can watch the post-match interviews with Chev Walker and the players from this game, as well as the first team action as well from tonight's game with Warrington Wolves. Man just back on his feet, just testing that ankle out. And he is given the all clear to play on, so.
Yeah, much better set finisher for Rhinos there, in some good territory. See what they're made of coming out of yardage. I'm sure our middles will try front up in D and try to limit their yards.
Oh, it's just a big hit from Whittaker.
Yeah, he likes them coming in from like a C. Man inwards towards solo carriers. I think just running with a bit of push there from Wakefield won't go any harm. So I sent him on his own there.
Oh, Wakefield truly. I'm not really. Well, they've had a couple of opportunities down by the try, but nothing that's really had the fans worried just below us. As Wakefield, Phillips drops the ball in for Kulani.
That's much. Yeah, getting up on the big man early doors, sort of stopping his momentum, sort of stopping him well.
As now Campling keeps the ball moving. Phillips on for Ethan Wood. He's got 3 men in the tackle. An audible nice from just over my right shoulder. As Kirkwood goes down the short side, gives it to Law, one of those try scorers in the first half for Wakefield. Kirkwood waits, feeds it for Phillips now into the arms of Charles Tetley. Hits the deck immediately. We've reached the fourth tackle. Wakefield looking to try to create something. The kick early, looking to catch Gatiss out and Riley Lum as well. And in the end, it's a man that gets there. Wakefield get there. And it's a try for Tom Delaney. It might be Evan Stevenson, excuse my pardon. It's a tough one to concede. It's from the kick again, but that's why they've been looking to test us the most.
Yeah, I think with how strong we've been in previous weeks with our kick returns, it'll be a bit disappointing. So I know Riley will be happy with that one, and I know he knows he can be much better there. But I think obviously, if you saw how it's gone either way, obviously creating that try for nil on that right hand side sometimes bounce at ball gets you and don't always go in your favour.
It didn't go in our favour at all there, and It's only for the first time that we've not looked very secure behind the kicks in behind. We've had 2 dropouts that were borderline. Granted, you can't predict the bounce of the ball, but still, it's a tough one to take there. The sun is in our eyes as well. We're quite unsure of the scorer.
Yeah, we just finished in a really good position there and we sort of let him off the hook a little bit. But yeah, it's a really good kick in behind by their half-back, and obviously they didn't give up on bouncing ball and they've chased really well.
As Man looks to add the 2 and does add the 2, takes the score to 30 points to 16. So we've got about 15 minutes, if that, left in the game. Let's close that score back in. It's at to 14 points. It's not a point where you're getting nervous, but at the same time, that 20 point margin was a lot nicer than what's now 14.
You can lose your winnings quick in this, obviously. Tries going back to back, build a bit of confidence, start thinking about it, and obviously if they come out of this yardage say a good strong run there, they start building a bit of confidence. It's all to play for.
It's Camplin who charges that one in, and Morgan and Tui, two of the smaller people on the field, having to take on the big man. Smith just now puts Stevenson on his back. It's now Tetley. Can confirm it was Evan Stevenson who scored the try for Wakefield. We now move ball over the side. It was a great short pass for Kavanagh. He's forced down just over the 40. Wakefield knocking on the door again of the Rhinos. We've seen this before in the first half, but Leeds managed to sustain it well and keep the head above the ball. Yeah, that is Kyden down. They're going to go down that side as well. They're going to use the extra man out wide, pushing it back inside. Dylan's done really well there.
He's done really well.
Perfect from Dylan.
I think it was a 4-on-2, and I think they've managed to do that very well. Obviously, quite passive, but we've got the job in the end. See what our boys are like here, carrying out a yardage.
That's Gatus with this attempt. Now it's Lum, the architect for the Chimambe hat-trick try. Tui waits, gives it to Morgan. Shifts the ball. They're trying to catch him on the edge again. Smith with a bit of space, and through he goes, Jack Smith. There's a man around his ankles. Ever the threat on this edge. Now Chimambe. See how many metres Neil can make. We know he can make a few. 3 tries to his name tonight, Neil Chimambe. Definitely a contender for man of the match. We'll find out in a little bit, though. Kai Morgan kicks away, puts it high in the air again. Doesn't look for the length. There's a bit of a breeze because it pushed back. It's allowed to bounce. Those Wakefield players are offside. Do they not know?
I think I'm a fair player. I think play on.
It is play on, indeed. Is that pass back down importantly there by Gates as well, Red?
Yeah, big play there.
Then I think that would have been Sam Kavanagh away down the touchline.
Obviously, we're still Kyden still down there, down a number on that side, so well read there from Wilkes. Obviously, look a dangerous position there, and I think if he didn't get an answer to that, they were looking away down that right hand side. Well,
he's back up, isn't he, Kyden? We can just see him looking a bit ginger up on that far side, walking a bit gingerly. But it'll be interesting to see what the choice is here by the sideline. If it's serious about bringing him off, or whether actually he's looked a real threat in this game. Can you keep him pushing on?
Yeah, well, I think we've got the diversity on the bench. I think to sort of shift players out. Obviously, we've got the likes of Dylan playing multiple positions, and has done all season. Obviously, I think he's played 3-4 positions already this season.
He has indeed.
Sort of fill in anywhere. So I think we've got the diversity, which is obviously nice. Obviously, looking back a few games, coming with only 2 subs on bench, I'm sure it's a nice feeling for Chev. It's having a bit of diversity on bench.
This is true. It's just a testament to how this under-18s group, have really stuck it out and got tough wins against with Castleford being one of the most recent, but Huddersfield before that as well. Wakefield. He's going to play on, but Wakefield
going down that right edge again.
Trying to go down that edge. See something, if anything. A glimmer of opportunity. A try would make this a very interesting finish here at Stanningley as we come into the final 10 minutes. Kulani brushed off the challenge of Tui and carries on. That's now Kai Morgan down against that stage in the game out with Danny, where people have sort of put the bodies on the line to an extent that actually things are picking up, and that looks a little bit more serious for Kai.
Yeah, I think was it a knock to the head there?
Looks to be the way that
Sarah's going up.
So the way the medics are approaching him, I think it is that way.
So we just had that sort of similar thing with the left side half back. Now with the right side half back, I'm sure Chev will be. Let's hope it's not serious, but obviously Chev will be looking at his option, seeing where he can move players around.
So I hope it's not serious at all. It's good to see that Kyden's started, but he's still stretching, whether it's now cramp after what it's been as the sun just gets ever lower. We're just bothered about our eyesight at this rate, because it's getting very tough to see. I think this might be Kai Morgan's game. I have a feeling. I can't see him staying on if he has taken a head knock.
Was it in a tackle?
Yeah, it was as he came away from the tackle on Kulani. Sort of reeled out of it. Robinson and Higgins were left in it, but I don't know whether it might be a threat. It could be friendly fire.
Loose limb going at him. Head knock, yeah. Sarah's signal, I think, is coming off.
Yeah, this will be.
So I imagine moving Dylan into the halves, maybe bringing Billy back on as a back row or centre.
And pushing Jack Johnson out.
Yeah, pushing Jack Johnson out into the centre.
It's not his most natural position, but he's done it a couple of times already this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's strongly covered for us. He probably adds a bit more diversity in this game. Sadly for Kai, that is, I think, the end of it for him now. So it's nothing serious.
As Kai comes from the field, like we said, we hope it's nothing serious for halfback, just slowly walking off the field. He's allowed to take his time where he can. I think we are just beginning to see that change. Jake Higgins coming off too, by what it looks like. They're also bringing him off.
Might be getting a breather here, Jake.
And it's Tobias that comes on, and Ben Littlewood's the other change. I think it's just like you say, Ben Littlewood will go into the second row as Jack will push a bit further out.
Yeah, and I'd have thought Dylan maybe moving into half-back. But yes.
Oh, the only other one is that Shane now moves into half-back.
Yeah, Shane in at half-back. Andrew's filling in at 9.
It could be another position change for. I think Zach McSwinney's out there, so that may be one for him. But Wakefield, nevertheless, pushing on regardless, looking to get themselves back into this game. Jay Pitts' side.
Yeah, they've looked strong in this last 10 minutes. I think they've exploited a bit of a weakness down that right hand side and made some nice meters off it. But see if they can convert into points here.
This stabs a little kick ahead, well taken this time by Jack Smith. 3 players following up and just hit him hard. The sun, like we say, getting ever lower here at Stanningley on a beautiful summer's evening. Now Chimambe. It's taken by 2, and the roles are almost reversed here as Leeds are now the ones that find themselves camped on their own try line, and Wakefield, the one that put in the big defensive effort. McSwinney gives it on to Robinson, who only knows one way, and that way is inevitably forward.
Yeah. Riley getting his hands up ball again. I think coming out of yardage he's been really pivotal, especially with Kai Morgan coming off now. Obviously Kai being massive in terms of dictating play and organising. It's going to be a lot of pressure on sort of Riley's hands now to sort of take a bit of that responsibility and hopefully share it out between them.
Is that kick just allowed to bounce? So Jack Smith takes it, gives it to Neil Chimambe. Is this number 4 for Neil? He goes for the corner. It's an easy try in the end.
Calm as you like. Great finish from Neil. Good hands from Jack.
He's a smooth operator, Neil Chimambe. He's smooth.
He is indeed, yeah.
Gets over for his 4th. The Leeds extend their lead again. 34 points to 16 with about 8 minutes or so remaining. So with the kick to come as well. I'm not sure has Kyden taken up the kicking mantle.
Fan favourite, Kyden.
Always a fan favourite.
Always, yeah. Just his friends right in front of us, they love it, don't they?
Absolutely. Well, no, he gives it up and it's going to be Riley Lum instead.
Friends might have talked him out of it, I reckon.
Riley fancy himself. I don't think he's kicked a goal yet this year, but looks like a left footer, and he's going to go with the right instead. There we go. So is what I know. Slices that one back across. I don't think that's too far away. That's a beautiful kick. Riley Lum takes the score to Leeds Rhinos 36.
It's a great kick from Riley.
Wakefield Trinity 16. Like I say, we're inside the last 10 minutes. Not got an official game clock. The wind just slightly has started to pick up though here as the sun starts to set.
Yeah, well, it's a lovely kick. Caught the wind, but yeah, got a bit of luck at the bounce. But obviously Jack and Neil's kick chase sort of created their own luck there.
What do you say? But back at that 20-point advantage, you'd maybe say, I don't want to, obviously, commentators curse, you'll know me, but you don't want 20 points is a little bit of a big advantage to bring back.
That's not going to help either. Obviously, Wakefield turning it ball over just as you say that, right in R5.
Right in R5, and I'm not sure who didn't want to get to the kick. It's allowed to bounce out, whether that's Will Gatus or Dylan Proud that just allowed that to go over the sideline. It's unfortunate there for Leeds, and Wakefield are going to have a new set 20 metres out here, Danny.
It's a dangerous position, obviously. 20 points in, not long left on clock. I'm sure they want to get a bit out of this game. Obviously, we said this at our time about Leeds' goal line D. It's a chance for them to build on that and sort of challenge their own goal line D and see how they get on here.
Well, as it's Wood gets himself in. Now it's Camplin. Hits the deck. 3 tacklers in there. Wakefield. Leeds getting all the way they can there as Lum tries to put himself under that ball. And it's a try for Wakefield. Just trying to see who was under that mountain of bodies there.
They look up for it. They look like they've got a bit of a spring in the step there. Obviously, a late try. Inspired a bit of confidence back in him. I thought it was a good play. And as I said, just a bit of goal line D there. A bit of fixing up.
I think that's Freddie Lambert, the man in the scrum out. That's the one that's gone over. It's an easy kick as well if he can get it. Edges that score ever closer. 36 points to 20 now with the kick from Mann. And he gets it. So 36-22. Let's get this fight a bit too close to comfort.
Yeah, obviously we lost that 20-point lead again. But I think with the little time we've got left, if we can get a nice kick up, get it high, allow a good kick chase, keep pinning them in their own 40 and sort of limit their yards, I think, it's a bit of a learning curve for us there and get a lot out of this last sort of 5-10 minutes.
Who can blame the boys for being a bit slow to run it back as well, to compose themselves? It's been a frantic 5 minutes as they go from scoring an absolute worldie of a try to actually conceding.
Absolutely, it's really end-to-end stuff, obviously. Fans will enjoy that.
As it is a deep kick from Lum, taken into the line, and here comes Ellis Roberts. Wakefield really up for trying to see how many points they can put on the Rhinos before the end of regulation time. As a try scorer, Lambert rolls and plays the ball. Kirkwood's there. They're going down that right-hand side there. Like we've said, they see something down there. But instead it goes into touch. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great defence there from Kaiden, pushing over Dylan.
So the boys really digging deep and showing that defensive resolve when really needed it on the try line. But if you can push over the sideline like the boys did there, it's equally as good.
I mean, obviously it's a lot of negatives in terms of that goal line D, but obviously all 3 try scoring opportunities have come from goal line D, so at least they've got a clear path of where to work on and where we're going to look at probably midweek training, probably how we're going to attack that for their next game.
Well, so it's a big game against St Helens up next for the 18 Salford. Yourself for the reserves. It'd be a interesting one playing against the Red Devils.
Absolutely. Obviously they don't have a recognised academy, so there'll be a lot of first team names in there, and obviously other semi-professional clubs playing like they have all season, so it'd be another chance to sort of play against older, more experienced players, and it's only a good thing really in the end. Obviously learning a lot, especially on my own pitch here as well.
It's down here at Stanningley, so get yourself down to come and watch the reserves. Come and cheer Danny on and the team. As now Lum is on to Whittaker. Leeds aiming to finish with a flourish here in front of the home crowd. Lum. Johnson tries and steps back inside, shrugs the challenge of Wood. Gets through another. He's brought down 10 out. That's Lum. Goes for the high kick across the field. Chibambe's there again. Can it be a fifth? Not quite. It's coming back into the arms of Jack Smith, who just does well to keep hold of it. And it's given as a knock-on.
I think a Wakefield knock-on, but the touch judge might see a different angle. Yeah.
I think the touch judge has disputed that it is going to be. Oh, he's classed it as actually Jack Smith was offside. Yeah. That's why they get the penalty. That's a deep kick that.
It's not going out.
Didn't look like it went out, did it?
It posted it.
There's Wakefield with Law for Phillips. And then for Lambert, that try scorer. He's just brought it to within 14 points. It's Leeds Rhinos 36, Wakefield 22. Looked like a knock-on. It is a knock-on. As seen by the referee. There'll be a bit of overtime just because of the injuries we've had. This will be a scrum down.
Leeds ball.
For Leeds, simple enough. Go on, Danny, what's that man of the match call from yourself? Who do you fancy giving it to?
While he run the field, I thought Kyle was brilliant. I thought he dictated play really well, but for me, it's hard to look past Neil's 4 tries. I think his finishing today were brilliant. I think defensively, being very solid down his edge. I think he's talked really well, carried really well out of yardage. And obviously, just to top it off, nice 4 tries. So yeah, I think Neil, for me, he's been brilliant today. It's
always a good day at the office, 4 tries, isn't it? As a winger, you cannot complain.
He's had some good service around him, but I think the ability to finish the tries he has, obviously, 2 breakaway tries, some nicer finish. I think he's been really well today.
As now to Gibson, back on the field. Let's see T out there. There's Whittaker back towards the posts. This takes 2 or 3 with him.
I think he's been strong off the bench. Elliot, Toby,
he has.
Jack and Zach, I think all made a big impact off the bench.
As that was just an error thrown there by Ashton Robinson, but that marks full time here at Stanningley, and it finishes Leeds Rhinos Under-18s 36, Wakefield Trinity 22.